You're going to raise your worth for 2025 and become the prize. And this applies to both men and women. But we're doing this because respect is very important in a relationship. Once respect goes out of the window, that relationship is already on a downward spiral and it's on its way to dying. People need to know that they need to treat their partners with regard. And how can you do this? You do this by creating a habit where it's registered in their minds that this is someone that I cannot trifle with. Men have been so emasculated and women so weaponized. And everything is all muddled up and people don't realize their roles now. Men want women to chase them. Like women, they are asking for 50-50 and women are actually chasing. And we don't even seem to notice what's happening. And what we don't realize is that these things are messing up the dynamics of our relationships. These things shouldn't be so. We must pay attention to what we're doing. We must pay attention to everybody's roles. We do have roles. Those are natural rules, and we cannot negate natural rules because there will always be consequences. Let's understand that the only thing that we need to do is pay attention to nature, and nature wants us to be in our natural rules. And as soon as we try to circumvent those things, we're going to run into problems. And that is why relationships are crashing all around us. That's why we have all the problems that we have. Men are giving more room than they should in relationship dynamics. And women are taking on more than they should in relationship dynamics. And we don't understand that we're skewing things. I just wanted to get that out of the way. This video is not about gender roles, but because I said that becoming the prize, being the prize is for both men and women, it just occurred to me to touch on that for a bit. I will deal with that in other videos. Now let's get on to the video. This video is about reinventing ourselves for 2025 and we're going to show up strong. I've come to realize that I'm not special in it. Almost everybody has a story where they feel particularly disfavored. And I'm making this video so that people can understand that you cannot get validation from other people. You have to get validation for yourself. And once you have it for yourself, people are going to feel it because it's going to come across in the way that you relate to them. And because they see that you don't need their validation, they cannot take you for granted. Think about all the dictators in different countries. That's how they do it. They decide, look, one person is controlling a whole country, a population of how many people. And because they know that you have validation for yourself, they cannot treat you carelessly. And you feel so self-assured. That's the meaning of your mind controlling your reality. It's not magic and it's not mysterious. This is exactly what it means. So I want you to imagine this one. Picture yourself inside a jewelry box, and that jewelry box is kept inside a showcase and the showcase is locked. Now what's inside this jewelry box is so precious that, unlike the other items in the store, someone is walking around the store, going along the aisles. There are items on the shelf and they can take them and look at them and examine them and decide whether or not they want them. But because you're in this jewelry box and inside the showcase, nobody can touch you unless an attendant comes and specially opens that showcase for the person to look at that item, to look at you and decide whether or not they are going to go away with you. So what it means is that a buyer cannot check it out and then just toss it back on the shelf and walk around going back and forth until they make up their mind that they want to take it or whether they won't take it or not take it. It's different from the other items on the shelf. For the other items on the shelf, people can pick them up at any time. People can pick them up, look at them and decide, okay, I'll think about this. I'll drop it back. But for the jewelry, for you inside the jewelry box, they have to get an attendant to come and open that showcase and then bring out the jewelry box and show it to them. And then they have to take their time to actually consider it. They have to give it attention because here's what happens. As soon as they leave that jewelry box and they put it back in the showcase and lock that showcase, the buyer isn't going to be able to come back and pick it up again and drop it and toss it around. They know that they might not have another attendant that's free to attend to them. So now is the time where they need to take their time to think seriously whether or not they want to take this piece of jewelry in the jewelry box. So that's the way that you need to see yourself. So from the get-go, the person will treat that opportunity as a one-time opportunity. Because if you don't take it right now, it means that if they're changing their mind later, they have to come back and wait until they have an attendant who has the time, who is free to attend to them, to come and open that showcase again, all over again. And so that's the way that we should treat ourselves. So that's how you should treat yourself. Treat yourself like the item in this jewelry box. So you don't go right up from the gate making yourself available at every chance. A call, a text, an outing, and you're right there all over the place. available. One of the biggest things that puts people in difficult situations in relationships is because of our need to connect. And that is something that we need to pay more attention to. It is not a weakness that we want to connect or need to connect. But what is a weakness is what we do as a consequence of that. And what we do as a consequence of that is get ourselves quickly involved with people much faster than we should because we have not qualified them. Because we're in such a hurry to get that connection, we tell ourselves all sorts of stories in our head why we should go ahead and couple up with this person. And that's why I made this video for you to watch. Because you need to take your time and ask yourself these questions in this video before you qualify a person to be in a relationship with you. That's why the gimmicks that people say, people say, deny them of attention and you'll have their attention. And it works, except that it's from the wrong mindset and for the wrong purposes. Because I promise you that it's not everyone's attention that you really want. But you might think so when you just met them. So when you adopt this method, remember what we're told. Who can find a good wife? For her worth is precious as rubies. And when I say that, I'm not talking only about women. I'm just saying that when you meet someone, they need to be qualified to be of good enough quality. And then they are worthwhile. Their worth is precious. So that's the way that we need to treat ourselves. We need to make sure that we're qualifying people to make sure that that person is a good enough wife whose worth is precious like rubies, or a good enough man whose worth is precious like rubies. Because men do get into relationships where they are taken for granted and mistreated. Some men go through that as well. And these things happen mostly from us rushing things, from not taking the time to properly vet people and know if they're worthy of our attention. We get carried away by their outward appearance and whatever they've presented. And this happens a lot to people who are sincere because we forget that we're projecting our own mindset on other people. You're a sincere person and you are authentic. And because of that, you show up authentic and then you project onto the other person an authenticity that they don't even have. And then they begin to reveal themselves little by little. And then you realize that this is not the person that you thought they were. But by this time, you're already so far gone that you've already invested so much and you feel stuck because you want a return on your investment. Some of the people who have worked with me, some of the people who work with me are just like me. Because I am very self-assured and very open and friendly, I lay myself open and I quickly absorb people. And that's because I know that I can handle any situation that comes up. But before, it was mostly because I would project my own sincerity upon these people and expect them to be just as open, knowing that I would be able to handle anything that came up. But you see, you don't want to be going through this disrespect. So after experiences, I realized that I had to recalibrate myself and recalibrate the way that I place myself in relationships. So at the beginning of a relationship, I'm not going to be in a hurry now to assume you to be a decent person. I need to understand that not everybody reasons at the same level. So some people don't even realize that they're doing something that isn't acceptable. So we don't gift people with the quality of common sense and being reasonable. We shouldn't do that. Projecting onto other people that I hadn't even vetted. It's a very dangerous thing to do. People are coming from different walks of life. A lot of people are carrying attitudes and haven't done inner work on themselves. And we cannot think that because the person is presenting as decent, that they're all the way decent inside. So we cannot project decency onto people. So we need time so that we can learn and study people so that we'll know if they're worth giving attention. So we have to learn to take our time and treat ourselves like we're that special jewelry, and we need to vet them and know if this person deserves special time. So we have to learn to take our time. Treat ourselves like we're in the jewelry box. Does this person deserve my attention? Is this person worth giving my attention? And the only way you can know that is by taking your time with them. And this means that you're not in a hurry to be friendly. So that when they give you a call, when they text you, when they invite you to events or to whatever, you are not going to be in a hurry to accept it. You're going to take your time to measure whether this person actually should get your attention. When you are so readily available, especially in the beginning, I have also experienced that people who in the beginning approached me carefully and respectfully, being excited to have time and access to me, some of these people will start to take things for granted. because of accepting them very easily. Because people will become like, after all, this is just a human being like everyone else, you know? Yet in the beginning, before they got to know you, they thought you were special. Because, and this happens a lot, because people see you from a distance. They see something about you and they believe that this person is special. They want to get close to you. But because so many people are not self-aware, and also because many people lack discipline, once people have access to you, a lot of people begin to take that for granted, and they begin to take things for granted. You know how it is, like with people who are so close to you, like family, you know. Okay, so imagine when you're with someone that you're just meeting. When they're talking, you are looking at them. When you're having a conversation with them, you are fully there and you're paying attention. But with family or with people who are so close to you, sometimes they're talking to you and you're looking at your phone and you're going, So it's a natural thing. And so when people meet you, and in the beginning, they are viewing you as special, and they're also putting on their best behavior. And then gradually, because you allow them to begin to relax, depending on how fast you allow them to, they begin to let down their hair. And then the people who are not self-aware begin to overstep their boundaries. And that's why we have to be careful the way that we actually have to curate and watch the way that we create the beginning of our relationships, because there might be someone who is not self-aware and then they begin to display their indecent behavior with you. And so this is one way that we destroy our relationships even before we had a chance to start off. If in the beginning we prepared this thing properly, we would have started off on the right note. Some relationships that could have lasted well were destroyed because disrespect was allowed to come in too early in the relationship. Many people don't realize that they don't even have the decency to self-caution. They're thinking that people are like you because you wouldn't overstep your boundaries. But not everybody's thinking that way. In fact, some people think that we're now pals, we're now so close, and so I can get to say and do whatever I want in their presence. And that's also this thing with being so liberal. And that's another thing with social media. Social media makes it such that you spend so much time with people online. You don't even know them for real. And you already feel so familiar with them so that you start to let down your guard. Start to become ugly in their presence when you get to know them. No, we need to all be disciplined. We need to be careful that we're not allowing the way of life, the way that we're living, to make us lose our decency. The way that we're conducting ourselves these days, because we have access to people and we talk online, we over familiarize before we even become familiar, because whatever you're seeing online, you're not sure yet. You are really not sure yet. So there should still be that little bit of holding back until you actually spend enough time, unless you're spending 24 hours with them every day, so much so that you know what's going on with them and you know how they're reacting to things, and so you begin to see parts of their personality and character. But when you're just seeing a few minutes at a time every day, you don't know what they're doing with the rest of the day. You don't know what kind of person that person is in the rest of her day or his day. If in the beginning you're not that free, they're going to caution themselves. They're going to notice that you're not someone who is easily available. And so every time they have with you, they're going to cherish that time. I'm not talking about those things that they teach about playing games. I'm talking about you doing it because what you're trying to do is vet this person. You want to check if this person is matching the level of decency, the standards that you uphold for yourself. That's very different from those games where they tell you that you should withhold attention, right? If you're doing this, it'll get you their respect. But I want you to notice the difference. The difference is the mindset. It'll get you their respect because you want them to treat you respectfully. It is not because you want to exert control over them and make them respect you, because those gamers teach people to make people respect you by withholding your attention. But no, you're not doing that because you just want their respect. You want their respect because you want your relationship to be a respectful one. Because however you create a relationship is the way that the dynamics are going to be set. So in the beginning, you're going to make it clear that it's not that easy for you to get access to me. You have to make it clear that it's not that easy for people to get access to you. And so they have to mind the way that they deal with your time. Because that's how people begin to take their time in getting back to you. Maybe you have a plan and you send a message and they'll take their time getting back to you because it's you. They're already sure that they have your attention. So they're going to quickly deal with other people and do other things so that you begin to go lower and lower in the list of priority of things to do. In fact, let me give you an example of someone that I started working with. She made it clear that Mondays and Tuesdays she's busy doing something else. And she said, this, that, and that are the things that I do on Monday and Tuesday. I don't have any time. I watch my time very closely. So I realized that anytime that I need to get hold of her, it has to be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And if by the time Friday comes along, I haven't gotten back to her or gotten in touch with her or called her for whatever I want, then it means that I'm not going to have access to her again for another few days. And so what it means is that I actually take my time to set her name on my alarm. I set the time to make sure that it's a priority because I know that if I don't reach her then, I'm not going to be able to reach her at the other times. But you see, if you leave an open door system where it's a free-for-all and anybody knows that they can just have access to you at any time, it registers in their mind that they don't have to give special priority to dealing with you. They don't have to give special priority to when they call you. They don't have to give special priority to when they respond to your messages because they can reach you at just any time. And mind you, this is in the beginning. In the beginning is when we create the foundations. And so whatever you do now is going to affect that relationship. We don't want to give it a tone where they already start to diminish the importance of who you are. And we're not doing this because you want to remain important. We're doing this because respect is very important in a relationship. Once respect goes out of the window, that relationship is already on a downward spiral and it's on its way to dying. People need to know that they need to treat their partners with regard. And how can you do this? You do this by creating a habit where it's registered in their minds that this is someone that I cannot trifle with. And you know what else that does? It also sets an extra layer of respect about you. This is another reason why we should fill our lives with meaningful things that we're doing so that we're not playing games and telling people we don't have time. We tell them and then next time they see us scrolling, but we're actually busy with something. It's great if you have things that you're doing, that you're achieving things in your life. You are focused on other things that are bringing value. You are maybe taking a course or you are upskilling in something. You're doing something useful, something to improve on your life. It makes you a more quality person. I tell you, these ideas make you a better version of yourself. And it also increases your self-confidence. So once that person realizes that this is someone who takes their time seriously and they're using their time to do this thing of value, it's good if you're able to tell them that this and that is exactly what I'm doing and that's why you can't reach me at this time. See, it raises your value so much so that the person begins to see you as someone that they respect and more valuable, and they treat you with respect. They can't just call you at any time or forget to call you or forget to text you. No. And what it means now is that you as well, you have to rein in your openness. You have some work to do on your own end. I'm not saying that if you're open, you have to hide your personality. No. Remain that open person that you are, but you must mix it with good enough strictness so that you don't lose your respect and value in their eyes. For instance, you cannot get me for sudden invites. No, I'm not just available. You cannot give me sudden calls or late calls. You can't call me just at any time because it means that you have access to me at any time. You can't do that at the beginning of a relationship. And that means also that people are claiming you now. They've already claimed you. What have you? You cannot claim me for yourself. Because what have you done to be able to just claim me for yourself where you can just reach me at any time that suits you? Why? Based on what? How far have we gone in this thing? Like, how much do I know you? How much? Why? Why are you taking that special position in my life? Why are you that special person? Because once people get that sense of they're special in your life, and don't also, this is another thing, don't be guilt tripped. Because once someone begins to show that it's you and I, we're so close, you are my person, I'm your person, and I can reach you at any time, there are no limits between us, that's when people begin to misbehave. Some people can handle it. So if you're that person who knows that you're very self-aware, don't forget to not project it onto the next person because maybe they're not. People can allow you to be in their space and you know that you're going to respect them and respect their time and be careful about the way that you treat them. But not everybody's like that. Some people are not self-aware. As soon as they have that opportunity, they're going to misuse it. And then disrespect sets into the relationship. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. And maybe some of you have experienced it. Now, if you sit down and think back, that's why I keep on saying that the things that happen to us, we create them. At least I can say that a lot of the things that happen to me in relationships as an adult now, yeah, when we're younger, a lot of things can happen. Things can happen at work, things can happen in family that we're not in control of. But in our own relationships that we're creating with people, it's us. We need to sit down and think, okay, what did I do? Where was I lax? Where did I allow things to go? Or where did I leave an opening that gave this person the idea that they could behave this way to me, the idea that they could give me this attitude? So when I say these things, it's not victim blaming. It's just for us to check ourselves so that when we're going forward, we can see where we have loopholes and plug those loopholes so that we get better results in our relationships. So when someone begins to quickly claim us and claim this special relationship with us, where they feel like, oh, I can just talk to you at any time and I can just tell you anything and I can just be anybody with you, sometimes we begin to feel a little guilty, even if we're not quite there yet, even if we're not quite like feeling like we're already at that level with that person. Sometimes we feel like, let me reciprocate a bit so that they don't feel that I am not giving back the same energy. Don't be guilt tripped. Don't allow it, because you don't know if this person is being sincere or if this person is just quickly trying to hasten things up and put you in that situation where they can just begin to misbehave because they cannot maintain their good behavior. And this happens a lot with, I'm not going to use that word here. This happens a lot with people who say love bomb people who love bomb people. You know, they have a facade that they're keeping up. They want to quickly get you in a place where they can begin to relax and be themselves, because who they are is a person who does not know how to self-regulate. They don't know how to behave. They don't know how to behave properly. And that's why they're in a hurry to get you into that very over-familiar situation so that they can quickly begin to just be anyhow. And you will take it that it's because you are so special to them and you have this exclusive relationship. So slow it down. Slow it down. Don't allow yourself to be rushed. Because otherwise you're going to begin to open up more and more. You're going to become more and more elastic to contain this person because you don't want them to feel discouraged. You don't want them to misunderstand. You're holding back. You want them to know, oh yeah, you want them to know that you're reciprocating their energy. And you don't want them to feel like they're not as important to us as they've expressed that we are important to them. So that is a trick sometimes. So we have to be aware and conscious to not do that. So remember, we test every spirit. We test every spirit. We test every spirit. Now you're not going to be falling for sentiments. Remember that we test every spirit. So don't expand quickly. Watch them. And what that also does is that it increases your respect for you in their eyes. It increases your value, even though that's not what you're trying to do. But that's what you get when you do this. That's an automatic outcome of adopting this posture. And that's what the gamers teach. It increases your value. So it's a two-pronged sword, killing too many birds at the same time. But this time we're doing it from the right mindset. So we're paying attention to the right things. But those people teach you to get people's attention and respect. The problem there is that what's missing is that you're just going to focus on getting the attention and respect. And you're not thinking about vetting the person. What you're focused on, because of the way that that's taught, is to get this person to give you attention. And what it also means is that you're going to get anybody's attention and they're going to want to stick to you. You don't want everybody's attention. You only want the attention and respect of people that are actually worth it, that are a match for you. You don't want to make everybody, because these things make you magnetic. But you don't want to be magnetic to just anybody, because they'll be magnetic with you. And then they will start to chip away at your sentiments and you begin to feel like, let me give back some. And that's how people end up in a relationship that they shouldn't even be in. Because this person is really not a match for you. And they will put you under pressure. So it is you. You need to vet the people that you accept into a relationship with you. So this teaches you to filter properly. So you only get people who are worth it to be close to you. You're doing this for the specific reason of qualifying the right people. So if you're in it to get attention, then that's what you're going to get. But if you're in it to get quality, then that's what you're going to be looking out for. Proverbs 31 says, a key thing is an intelligent and virtuous woman. Who is she and who can find her? She is far more precious than jewels, and her value is far more than rubies and pearls. So remember, this applies to both men and women. So remember, don't listen to those gimmicks, because what they do is that they distract you from where your attention should be. So that when you do this, when you create space between you and somebody, this new person, your reason is not for getting their attention. Your reason is for qualifying them. If you adopt those gimmicks, that's why they're dangerous. They make you lose attention from where your attention should be. And now, look at you. Do you know why I'm smiling? Because many people, many of you now will be saying to yourself, yes, yes. But the thing is, whatever we do unto others should be what we want to be done unto us. So can you honestly say that you don't do these things to other people? Can you say that you haven't fallen into taking people for granted because you have access to them? Can you say that with your family members and with your close friends, you haven't been taking your time getting back to them, calling them back or texting them back, getting back to them on messages that you started because you know that you're always going to have access to them? You know, we've all done this. You know, we all do this. So this is why I say oftentimes that we are also a problem, but we're not looking at ourselves. We're not looking at ourselves, because the truth is, if we really want high standards, we have to be of high standards as well. And if we really have high standards, we will not be falling into the problems that we fall into with relationships.